ahead and open your geometry book. On Friday, remember, boys and girls, every day we've been filling in a little bit of information every day. And so on Friday, we filled in the information about polygons. And we said that our study about polygons would be, a polygon is a 2D shape with at least 3 straight sides. And polygons can be regular or irregular. And so when we think about polygons being regular, the one thing that we need to remember, Soraya, is that all the sides and the angles are equal. It cannot be regular if one of the sides is different or if one of the angles is different. In order to be a regular figure, it must have equal sides and equal angles. Other shapes that do not have equal sides or unequal angles fall into the irregular category, and that just means that they have uneven sides and uneven angles. Okay? So you were supposed to fill this out on Friday, and if you've been absent, then you know that there is a geometry book folder in Schoology, and you can reference that to fill in any other missing pages. Okay? So turning to the next page, we're going to begin our study on triangles. And so what I have to tell you about triangles is we are going to be doing a very detailed study when we get to geometry, but today we're just kind of like hitting the surface. And so we know triangles are polygons with 3 sides. Triangles are polygons with 3 sides. And so when I see the prefix tri, anytime I see the prefix tri, I need to associate that with the number 3. For instance, if you studied dinosaurs and you talked about Triceratops, that is a dinosaur with 3 horns. If we talk about a tricycle, that is a bicycle, or it's not bicycle, it's a cycle with 3 wheels. Okay? Now, when we studied angles, we briefly talked about naming triangles by their angle side. And we name a triangle by its largest angle name. And so we could just quickly fill in that sometimes we're going to see right triangles. That means it has a right angle inside the triangle. Sometimes we're going to see obtuse triangles because there is one obtuse angle inside the triangle. And sometimes we're going to see acute triangles because there are several acute angles in the triangle. Triangles measure to 180 degrees. And if you know that, then that's why you know measure 180 degrees. That's why you know that if we're talking about the angle and naming it by its angle, that we can only have one right angle in a triangle because the angle is 90 degrees. That means the other 2 have to be acute. If we call it an obtuse triangle, then that means already we have an angle that is greater than 90. The other 2 angles have to be acute. But if we have acute angles, only acute angles, then we will have 3 acute angles measuring less than 90. Okay? Now, over on this side, we have our side names. Now, where we put these names is very important because in 5th grade, you are expected to know the hierarchy of the triangle names. And so when we start, we're going to start over on the right with the one that's kind of isolated by itself. And this type of triangle is called a scalene. A scalene triangle has no congruent sides. No congruent sides. Every side of our triangle is going to measure something different. So if I were to sketch something quickly, I would do something like this, and this might be 8, this might be 15, and this measurement down here might be 10. None of those sides are measuring the same distance. Okay? Now, what we put in this place and this place also matters. It's very important. So the next one that we're going to fill in would be this box right here, and we're going to put isosceles in that box. Isosceles sounds like a really smart triangle, but what you need to know about an isosceles triangle is that we have 2 equal sides. 2 equal sides. So if I were going to draw a quick sketch of that, I might just draw an arrow here so that I have enough room. would just...
Isosceles?
It's called an isosceles triangle. Let's see if I can do... That's not a very good example. Let me scratch that out and do something that looks like this. Okay, that means that if this is 5, then this is also 5, but maybe this outside measurement is 8. So we have 2 sides that are measuring the same length, but that third side is measuring a different measurement. Okay? And then finally we have equilateral. What does equilateral sound like? Like equal, right? So what do you think about the sides?
They're all equal.
They're all equal. All 3 sides are equal. And so if I draw a quick arrow over here, most of the time when we think about an equilateral triangle, we have 3 congruent sides. You might see these little markings inside, but that's just to tell us that if this side is 5, then we know that this is also measuring 5 and this is measuring 5. So all 3 sides of our triangle are the same. One quick thing that you need to know is that if you have 3 equal sides, can you also be called isosceles?
Yes.
Yes. If you have 3 equal sides, you also have 2 equal sides, right? Are all isosceles automatically equilateral? No, they are not. So what you need to remember about our flow chart is that we can always, if we're at the bottom and we call it equilateral, we know it is automatically called isosceles as well. You can flow up the chart and be called the same thing. Not everything that is up here at the top is necessarily called the same thing at the bottom. Okay? So be very careful and aware of that. What questions can I answer for you today? Dax.
I have 2 questions.